Stephen and I first met, we both went to college at the same college, and he pretty much approached me in the skating rink. Yes, he approached me in the skating rink. And I saw him, well, he saw me before I saw him, because the only thing that I saw was just roller skates rolling in. And so he sat next to me and he asked me this crazy, at the time I thought it was a pickup line. He asked me, "Don't I know you?" And I said, "No, you don't know me." However, that was a legitimate question, like he thought he really did know me. And so we just kept talking.
I knew her. She just acted like she didn't know me, but we knew each other.
Oh, okay. So we knew each other, right. Obviously. But ever since then, we've been talking and having conversations since. So that's how we met.
Actually, we met, like she said, at Oakwood, and but when I initially seen her, I think I met her the week before, and she I don't know, she must have just erased me out of her head that week before, because I was pretty sure I knew her from, it's only a few people that look like her, so I was pretty sure that I knew that the person I was talking to was somebody I met before. But the interesting thing is, when I gave her my number, offered to give her my number, so we could communicate, she I asked for her number, and she gave me her number. Well, I guess she was afraid to pull out her phone, because she had a flip phone, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with a flip phone, but the thing about the flip phone is it only had like 2 minutes left on it, so she was waiting to call me so that she could, I guess, get more minutes on her phone, or so that's why her story is maybe a little blotchy, because she didn't want to call me from a phone that would possibly go out in the next 2 minutes. So.
Yeah, that is true, but this was back in 2005, and flip phones and minute phones were in then. So, yeah, it was in.
Actually, yeah, she's right. Yeah, we did. I had a flip phone. So. I knew she was the one when, basically, I'm a different type of person, so I like to joke a lot, and sometimes I get to the point where some people just can't stand to be around me. But, Cookie, she pretty much puts up with me and deals with my jokes. She even laughs. There's only one other person that really laughs at my jokes, and that's my cousin, Courtney. She's here right now. Hey, Courtney. Yeah, Courtney and Cookie, they pretty much are my joke fans. But Cookie, past the jokes, she's there for me whenever I need her. I mean, she's everything that I ever thought to have in a woman, she is. So that's pretty much how I knew she was the one.
I almost cried. For me, I knew that very first night after we met at the skating rink, because after I got back to the dorm room, I actually called Steven, which I broke the 3-day rule, and it wasn't because I was so struck. It was because I was bored. Sorry to hurt your feelings, but I was bored that night. And my friends kind of coerced me to call Steven, and I did. We kind of had a conversation, and back and forth. And before that whole conversation ended, he asked me, can you pray with me? And for me, that was at that moment, I knew that God had led his life, and I knew that he put God first and foremost in anything that he did, and I just felt it in my spirit, and I said, this guy, it's a done deal. Like, everybody else, pack your bags, go, because this is the guy for me. So it was that night, actually, very soon in our relationship, but it was actually that night. So, yeah. Our faith is a big part of our relationship. Just going to church and having that one-on-one time with God, aside from each other, is so important. And so it makes it easier that we kind of believe the same things, God first and foremost. And so every time we come to a situation or dilemma in our lives, we go to God first. And so that fits pretty heavily in our relationship. And so I think that's what has driven us to, for one, we had to grow apart together, but now we're growing together more so in our faith. And so that's a big deal. That's a pretty big deal for us. So
one thing that I've come to learn about going into marriage is, you have to be deeply rooted in your faith. And I grew up in a loving Christian home, so it was nothing new to me. But on the marriage side, as far as a man leading his family and his home, you have to be rooted. You have to seek God and to understand certain situations, seek Him first, and then attack whatever situation you may be leading your family into, or as far as what obstacles may come. And so for me, faith and church, and that's very important to me. It's been a long journey preparing for the wedding. I mean, we've about a year ago this time we were just saying where we would want to have the wedding and trying to find a venue and everything. So it's been a lot, putting a lot of sweat and tears and a lot of hard work into doing the small details about finalizing who's gonna sing, who's gonna walk who down, who's gonna be groomsmen, who's gonna be bridesmaids. It's been real tedious, but all in all, it's been real fun planning it. I think I couldn't have chosen a better group of guys to, stand with me, and the same for the bridesmaids. I love those girls to death. And things you can expect. I mean, we just plan to have a good time. I already know both of our families like to have a good time. They both like to laugh. I know Fat Daddy, man, you gonna have everybody rolling. So
yeah,
that's one thing y'all can look forward to. Anybody need a dance partner? That's your man right there. And I just want everybody to enjoy themselves, have a good time. It's gonna be a blast.
I'm actually kind of sad that it's ending, because we're not going to be important anymore. So
right.
I'm kind of sad that it's about to end, but I know that we have the love and support from our family and friends, and so I'm just ready to have a good time. I'm ready to see everyone, and I'm just excited. So yeah.
The reaction I got when I made the announcement to my groomsmen that I had finally popped the question, a lot of them were already like, man, it's about time. We waited long enough. I know Mike, he was probably the most excited. He was going crazy. He does this little scream he does on the phone. I had to take the phone off my ear. He was the most excited person out of all of them. But everybody was excited, but most of them pretty much knew that we would be together. We had been together so long, they pretty much had already counted us as a married couple. So everybody was real excited for us and everything. So
yeah, the most, it was about time. It was that reaction of, it's about time that you guys get me. You guys, come to a union. But it was one of those things where it was long overdue in their minds. Stephen and I knew we were going to pace ourselves along the way, and it was in God's time that it was right for us. This time is perfect for us. Even though we've been together for a long time, it was just right for us to go ahead and lock it down.
Right. My parents, they were already pushing me like, man, you better go ahead and ask her. Especially my dad, he would pull me to the side. It would be kind of awkward because if anybody knows my dad, man, he's kind of he's a jokester like me, but he's kind of low key. So he would pull me to the side and be like, hey man, so what you and Cookie gonna do? And I'm like, what you mean? So I kind of got the point that he's like, hey man, you better jump on it. And my mom, she was like, hey, you better go ahead and marry this girl for somebody else get her. And I'm, myself, I'm like, hey, I used to be, I consider myself the man, so she ain't going nowhere.
Oh,
and
wow. Okay.
And so I had her pretty much locked down. I already called the Players Coalition. They took my name off the roll.
Oh my
God! Uncle Mackie, we'll see about paying my dues this week. I'm still paying my dues, so But no, all seriousness, they was pretty excited. They was pretty excited about me saying that I was ready to commit to marrying Cookie.
Yeah, same here. Everyone wasn't as surprised because they knew one day it would come. So it was one of those things where it's like, oh, I've already had my dress on standby, and I've already had my shoes on standby. So we're just ready for that day to come. So it really wasn't a surprise. It was just more like a hallelujah. So that's how they reacted when we became engaged.